All right, hello and welcome back to the Aligned Podcast. Today is episode 10. Thank you so much for joining us. We are getting some amazing numbers this week. We passed 500 downloads and we're super happy with that. So if you are enjoying the show, if you are getting something from it, please do share it. Please do leave a review. We're not here to sell you anything. We just want to help people with their personal development and create a better life for themselves and their family. So please do share the show if you can. As always, I'm joined by Tom. How are you doing today, Tom?
I'm great today, mate. I messaged you this week and I actually listened back to the podcast for the first time, properly. You're amazing. I was literally watching it thinking, guys, these guys have got some good content. Who are they?
Who are these two guys? Thanks, mate.
And on that note, we've had loads of messages, both of us personally.
Yeah.
And I really want to thank everybody who's sent us a message and asked us to record on certain topics. And we just want to really encourage people to share. To get 500 by episode 10, we're really happy with.
Yeah, we've actually only released 7. We'd only released 7 episodes at that time. This has been at.
Oh, really?
So
that's really cool.
Before we released episode 8, then we released 8. 9's going out next week, and this one will be out the week after. So yeah,
so that's cool. So thank you, big thank you to everyone who's done that.
Massive
like, subscribe, share. If you're on YouTube, check out podcasts, and otherwise, if you're on podcast, check out YouTube. I was just come from the gym this morning and watching people there on their cross trainers and doing their things. And I always watch something motivational, or I do a walking meditation at the end. And I see so many people watching sort of rubbish YouTube stuff. Why not watch the Aligned Podcast?
Yeah, why not?
There you go.
Improve your life while improving your life.
So what are we talking about today, mate?
So this actually is a request from a listener.
Yep.
And they said, can we approach the topic of self-doubt? So is this something that you suffer with, Tom, self-doubt?
Massively.
Yeah?
Like my instinct to say is no, but then if you watched me and asked Sarah to go massively struggle with self-doubt. So my natural propensity is to shoot first, think later. And it's after I've shot that the self-doubt comes in. I'm not one that lets self-doubt stop me, but as soon as I've said I'm going to do something or I've done something, self-doubt comes in. So one of the biggest things that, like, I'll do an event, like you came out to Sweden with me to teach.
Yeah.
And I came back, I was like, it was an awful event, didn't go very well, could have been better, could have been bigger. And Sarah's like, you just got paid to go across to another country to teach people who came from all other countries. I'm like, that's where self-doubt gets me.
Yeah.
Is from comparison, most probably. It doesn't stop me, but it really mentally affects me and can reduce my productivity for a period of time.
Yeah. And I recorded the testimonials of the people at that event. So I can tell you that you have no need for self-doubt because they all absolutely loved it. Yeah, I definitely suffer with self-doubt. And I think anybody who says they don't is probably full of shit to an extent. I think everybody does have that little voice in their head that makes them question the things they want, especially when you've got like massive goals. There's a lot of times when through going through my vision boards and stuff, the little thought will pop in your head like, oh, who are you to deserve it? Like, who are you to get that? What makes you think you can get that? But one thing that I always remember and try and tell people is you are not your thoughts. Yeah. Like those self-doubt thoughts, those negative thoughts that come in, that's not you. That's just the voice in your head.
There's got to be conditioning as well, hasn't it? Because as kids, you don't have any self-doubt.
No.
Like I remember I used to mountain bike a lot, and we used to go to these jumps, and me and my mate, really good mate of mine, speaking to him this week actually, he's a surgeon over in New Zealand now. And we used to go and do these jumps, and these jumps are the size of an estate car. Like you jump a gap that wide, and for kids, for anyone, I wouldn't even do it these days. Like the self-doubt comes in now. Yeah. But you just used to rock up and you just used to go, how fast do I need to go to get over that gap?
Yeah.
And go for it. And self-doubt was never there. But self-doubt, I really do believe, is a conditioning that happens over time.
Yeah. From
probably our closest people.
Yeah.
Like I certainly I tell you what, the inverse self-doubt that I have at the moment, and Sarah loves seeing this. Every time I have a new idea, it's so sadist of me because I crave the recognition from my dad, but I know every time I ask him or mention a new idea to him, he's going to turn around and go, stupid idea.
Yeah.
Why would you ever do that? And then that to me goes, it's the right idea, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, so it's so messed up. I'm craving his, if he turned around and went, oh, that's a really good idea, I'd be like,
Oh shit.
Yeah. That's not the right idea. But it is those people, but they're looking out for you, I think. And
it is.
And then I think that in turn is you second guessing, going, is this the right thing for me? Am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
But I suppose, before we go deeper into that, where have you seen self-doubt creep up in your life?
Yeah, so loads. So I had more self-doubt when I was younger, and my mum, she is an amazing mum and she loves us all dearly. But when we used to leave the house in the most loving way, she always used to go, be careful. And that programs you over time to think that things are dangerous and you need to be careful. So a lot of my self-doubt was when I was younger, and it's less so lately. And I think that when you work on yourself for so long, like when you've been doing this personal development for 10 years plus now, and I've just reprogrammed my mind to believe that I can pretty much do anything. And it seems to work over time. It's just a method that I've done. But business is one area where self-doubt does creep in. But yeah, I think just knowing that you're not your thoughts, for me personally, knowing that I'm not my thoughts, totally changed the game. So if ever I felt anything that was like a negative thought creep in, I'd just be like, I'm not my thoughts.
But what about positive thought?
What about it?
So you're not your negative thought, but are you your positive thought?
No, you're neither really. You're just the thing in the back. You're the consciousness and the awareness seeing the thoughts.
Yes.
So if you get too overly confident and overly positive, that's not you either.
True.
You're not your thoughts.
Do you flex positivity? So it's something so the first thought that comes into my mind every morning is today's going to be a great day.
Yeah.
And thank you for today.
Yeah.
Like that's conditioned in my mind.
Yeah. I do flex positivity. Yeah, I listen to AM Affirmations when I'm in the shower.
Yes.
And it's just a video on YouTube, which I will link in the description of this. And it's just over and over again. I am healthy. I am wealthy. I am wise. I am successful. I'm abundant. I'm energetic. I'm love. And I think it's like 3 affirmations and then a pause.
Yeah.
So you listen to the 3.
Yeah.
And then you repeat the 3. And the pause is as long as it takes him to say it.
Yeah.
And I do it every day in the shower and it works.
So I think it is important because the world is so generally negative, and self-doubt does creep in for those constant things like, should you, don't do that. If you do that, it might mess up. Got to be secure. Things are changing. And so I think a lot of self-doubt comes from an external locus of control. It's from stuff happening without of you. And I think the flip to try and change that is to work on what's within you, or you driving it forwards.
Massively. And at the risk of sounding like a broken record on this podcast, it is back to the personal development, the promises that you keep to yourself, your physical health. And one thing that will bring massive self-doubt into your life is not keeping the promises that you make to yourself, not doing the things that you know you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I was just speaking to my brother now. I hardly ever speak to him. I literally just got off the phone. He's living in Turkey at the moment, and he's gone out there to be a journalist. And I said, "What's your plan?" He said, "I'm going to give it a go for 6 months." I'm like, "Dude, you gave up your career to do this. Like, you need to give it. You need to give it your all. Like, you need to give it everything you've got, so you can come away from those 6 months and go, did I give it everything?"
Yeah.
And I think this is the thing with self-doubt is we try and take the easy path, and then we sit back and go, did I really give it my best shot? And something I've listened to recently has been coming up quite a bit is a couple of days after your funeral, people have forgotten who you are.
Yeah.
Like, people just forgot who you are. And in that same note, people don't really give a shit what you're doing.
No.
They don't really care.
No.
So why not just go for it? Like, what have you got to lose? And a big thing that comes up, and it is it's not an oxymoron, it's a cliche. Like, it's the fear of failing. Like, we just fear failing. But so what if you fail?
Yeah,
like literally. So
you've
what?
Got to fail.
Yes.
If you're not failing, you're not moving forward, basically. So instead of fearing failure, just embrace the failure and just go at it and just think, right, I'm going to fail and then I'm going to learn. And if you learn, you don't fail.
Exactly. You don't. Yeah, that's saying if you don't win, you
learn. Yeah.
And most people will go, if you don't win, you lose. And
yeah.
it's all these things that creep up in our mind, these self-doubt things. That I worry what people are going to think about me. I worry about the failure. But is it really that bad? Now, I think it becomes that bad if we go on a deeper level. If you're a human being that hasn't created skills and worth Self-worth that you have to give to the world,
that's where it all comes from.
Then there's an issue, and that's like we spoke about in the previous episode.
Yeah.
The insecurity of having a job.
Yeah.
So I know if all else fails, I've got two hands that I can use to make people's lives better, and I can do that anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And you can create creativity and digital products that will completely change a business or somebody's life.
Yeah.
And we know we have that self-worth and that self-value to give. So if you really have worked on yourself, if you really have created value, or you are a value, you're a carpenter, you're a plumber, whatever it is, you can then turn around and go, it could all fail, but I can still help other people, and therefore I can still succeed or move forwards.
Yeah. And if you've never done the work in your life on yourself to build that self-worth, then why do you think that you deserve to not doubt yourself? Like, of course you're going to doubt yourself because you've not built that self-worth inside you, which makes you think, I can do it. And when you lose weight, or for me personally, lose weight or get over the fear of doing this, or build a business and start a business and create a successful business, like I said previously, every time you do one of those things, or start getting up early, or meditate regularly and train, it's like every little thing is a little building stone of something that you've done that makes you believe, yes, I can do things that I didn't think I could do before, and I've proved to myself that I can do it now. So then your self-worth, you start to know that you're worth something, and then the self-doubt is less.
And I suppose in that token, self-doubt could be a beneficial thing.
Yeah.
Especially if you're creating a business, because I think going back to an episode we've recorded previously on like perfectionism.
Yeah.
Like that self-doubt is just you second guessing, is this product good enough? Could it be better? Could I serve people in a better way?
Yeah.
And using that self-doubt not to stop you, but to potentially improve you as you move forwards.
Yeah, that's when it becomes a problem, when it cripples you and stops you from actually moving forward and making a difference to people's lives. Like if perfectionism stopped me from ever releasing an ad for a client, there would be, at this point, maybe nearly hundreds of thousands of people who haven't come to chiropractic.
Yes.
Who have not had their lives improved. And through the years working with chiropractors and going around to practices all over this country and in Europe, and seeing the people who chiropractic has made the difference to, like what a shame that would be.
So therefore is self-doubt selfish?
No.
Well, if self-doubt selfish in the sense that...
Oh, yes, self-doubt is selfish. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because by self-doubting myself and keeping everything closed in, I'm not actually giving
yourself away
to anybody the things that they need. Yeah, self-doubt is selfish.
So I suppose some good things to give some examples of where we've each had self-doubt, like some clear examples, and then maybe some things that people can do to actually overcome, or some things that we do to overcome self-doubt. So I think self-doubt, for me, the biggest way that showed up was the first time I went to put in an adjusting course. So having had a successful practice for many years, and people asking me, how do I do the adjustments I do on the scale or in the time frame, or getting the results, to me, it just seems like it's just the norm. It's just a very simple and easy thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I've worked on it to an extent where that's the case. But then when I first went to put on a course, self-doubt massively creeped in. Like, who am I to give this information? Who am I to put on this thing? To the point where I gave away most of those tickets to the first one because I saw I didn't see any value in what I had.
Yeah.
And my way of getting rid of the self-doubt was to drop the value exchange. But But on the opposite side of that, people attending the course and then, a couple of weeks or a couple of months later getting messages saying how it's actually changed their practice and turned it around shows a couple of things. Shows that if I hadn't lent into that fear and doubt, I wouldn't have done it anyway. But also, back to that selfish thing, if I'd selfishly gone, actually, no, I can just continue in my own lane and do what I do, these people's practices wouldn't change. And that's where my thought process is now, is how can I change more people's lives and practices, not just improve my own practice and life. It's a simple example, but I don't think the self-doubt ever goes. I think people see me flexing a lot of confidence, but on the other side of that, there is quite a bit of self-doubt that creeps in massively. Where have you struggled with self-doubt? Is there any in particular?
Yeah. Right here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
So even though before I ever made my first video, I'd done personal development and changed my life massively for about 5 or 6 years before I ever made a single video. And that was 3 or 4 years ago or more. And my biggest area of self-doubt is creating content, and it's such a paradox and so funny because it's what I do for a living and I do it for other people, but this is proof right here that if you work on yourself and you continue to work on those negative thoughts in your mind and tell yourself exactly what you want to be and use vision boards and move forward, you can get past self-doubt. And I would say, you say it never goes away. I would say it lessens a lot. Yeah. So whereas you say you might have some self-doubt now about the things that you do, I bet it's a minuscule amount compared to what it was when you started.
100%. And I think exactly what you've said there highlights the fact, a couple of things, like the asking dad for approval, seeking him to say no. And I've said before that our greatest gift lies behind our biggest fear. So I think if this person who's asked this question is having self-doubt about a particular thing,
it's probably the thing they should go for.
It's probably the thing they should go for.
Yeah, I think that's a very good lesson to take away from this podcast. The one thing me and you have had the most self-doubt about is the one thing that we're doing and enjoying the most now.
100%.
So if you are
100%.
doubting doing something and and it's on your mind, because if it wasn't on your mind all the time, you wouldn't have the self-doubt. And if it's on your mind all the time, then it's something you should be doing.
100%. And it's not as if you're going to do it first time and it's going to be like, oh, my life's changed. I've created something amazing out of this.
No,
it's not.
It takes time.
And it's always a practice. So suppose on that note, what are some things that people can do to overcome the fear, or ways they can maybe flip the way they're perceiving it or thinking about it?
Yeah. So one thing to think is, if someone else has done it, then why can't I?
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way. And always to look at the fact that there's always someone else who's started below you on the ladder and had it worse than you and struggled with everything that you're struggling with and more, and they've done what you want to do and more.
So fun. Like on that note, that's how I got through university. I used to look at people in the year above and go, if that dumb sod can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I've got four patients currently studying chiropractic at the moment. And they're like, oh, this is hard. I'm like, dude, I am one dumb ass dyslexic MF. Like, if I can do it, you can certainly do it.
And
like, it's true. It's just so true.
Yeah. So if someone else has done it, what's the reason that you can't do it?
So true. And I think similar to that is, again, thinking about that funeral thing. Like, the Queen died.
Yeah.
Like, and people have forgotten about that.
Yeah. In no time.
Like, in no time.
Yeah.
Then I have a couple of other things, like a daily practice. Like, my daily practice, the simplest daily practice I have, and the conditioning which I just mentioned earlier, is the first thought in my mind every time I wake up is today's going to be a great day.
Yeah, I've started using it.
It's just it's the simplest thing ever.
Yeah, I've started using it, yeah. It does make a difference because it just sets you off on the right foot.
Huge difference. Yeah. I've now implemented into my routine. I'm really enjoying it. I did 20 minutes, sort of a speed hill incline on the treadmill after my workout. People should look at my face, dude. I look like I'm high on something because I'm just going through a visualization pattern, and it really sets my day up. But these are things that I carve into my day that I make sure I do. I think prioritizing self is important. I know you do similar things to that.
Yeah, definitely prioritizing self is important. The vision board as well is one thing. Like, if you don't think you can do something, print off the outcome of that thing, put it on your wall, look at it every day, and imagine achieving it, and the smells and the feel of the things that you'll get by achieving the thing that you're doing, and it will just cement it. Like, they say that your subconscious, and I don't know how true this is, but they say that your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between imagining something and actually doing something.
Yep.
So if you're imagining the thing, I mean, you can get deep into this with quantum physics and even the theory that we're living in a simulation and we create the future that we desire by just thinking about it. So if you're imagining and feeling with emotion those things that you want to achieve, then you are giving yourself a massive advantage and pulling yourself towards those things. And people like Andy Frisella says that it's probably 60% that, I think he says, or 50-50 maybe, and 50% the work you do. So if you're going in and slugging away and trying to work towards it and you've got self-doubt, imagine those things and visualize those things, and I think you'll attract them to yourself.
It's really funny. On my visualization, I spend a lot of time thinking about my business, my family, and all this great stuff. It's a 2-day visualization. The second day, I always go out, I get in the Lambo.
Yeah.
And I drive up to Humberside Airport, and halfway up there, you drove past me today. You come past me in your McLaren.
Yes.
And then we pull up to the jet. We get on the jet. We fly to Amsterdam, and we give the talk of our lives to this huge audience in Amsterdam and change their lives. And then we spend, instead of shooting off, we get in that audience. We just go around talking to everyone. It's so clear, dude.
Amazing.
Like, it's brilliant.
I can't
but
wait
you're wearing the orange
happen.
hat in my visualization.
Oh, well, that's my favorite one.
And then the other thing I thought is something that I've mentioned to a lot of people over the years is the number that sticks in my mind is 30,000. 30,000 is the average number of days we have on this planet. 365 times 85 or something like 83. 365 times 83, I think it is. You can do the maths on that if you really want to. But that's the average number of days we have. Yeah. But then you take however old you are,
and they're already
times 365, take that away, that's all you've got left. So are you just going to continue to carry on wasting these days that you have that you will never, ever get back? Yeah. Or are you going to give it a go?
Yeah. Yeah. And lastly, I would just say, fuck self-doubt. What's the alternative? Like, do nothing and achieve nothing. Because if you don't go for it, you are affirming one thing for sure: you will never succeed at it.
Yeah.
So just go for it. Give it a go. If you
fail, when you give up, don't you?
If you fail, you learn, move forward, keep growing, and keep fighting.
Love it.
Cool.
Please do share this episode with someone who you know is struggling with self-doubt. Give us a 5-star review, please. And we look forward to joining you next week for another great episode. Or are we doing twice a week?
Ooh, now you've said it, we've got to.
Oh, sorry. I just shot Lee in the foot because you're the one doing the editing.
So we're going to be moving to twice a week. Yes, we're just trying to get some in the bank first, but we're looking to aim for twice a week. So Tuesdays and... Did we say Thursdays?
We think we said Thursdays, yeah.
But that's up for debate. But yes, please share the show. Please like the show. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I've noticed a lot of you watching on YouTube are not subscribed. Please subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode.